Erev Shabbos, Parshas Ki Sisa, there is a very simple little pasuk. Could slide away, nothing significant come out of it. Rei Karasi B'Shem. God says to Moshe, saying that, behold, see, Karasi B'Shem, I called in the name Bezalel ben Uri ben Chur, Lemati Yehuda. The Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of Chur, to the tribe of Yehuda. He's the one that's going to be filled with Ruach Elokim, B'chachmo, V'isvunu, B'dasu, B'kamalacha. He's got a lot of things going on around him. And he's going to do all the malach. He's going to do all the work. He's going to do all the artistry, making all of the beautiful kalim, building this Mishkan, putting the plans to work. And it's interesting that when God introduces him, he says, Re'ei karasi b'shem. First of all, the word Re'ei is problematic and difficult. Because what do you mean Re'ei? See. Yeah, I mean, karasi b'shem. This is what I did. I called him. And what's karasi b'shem? So we know that see, Re'ei, means that we have to look at it deeply. Because there's a message here. What are you looking at deeply? What's the message? What's karasi b'shem? That I called him by name. What else are you going to call him by? Number? He has a social security number. What do you mean you're going to call? I called him by name. Of course you called him by name. So what's it saying? Re'ei, look at this deeply, because I called him by his name. So I think that we have to understand what a name is. And we understand, without going into details now, but we understand that a name of a person is really the spiritual identity of the person. And when parents name a child, they are really framing the spiritual identity of the child. And that's why we say that it's a moment of Ruach HaKodesh, a moment of divine inspiration, because to know exactly what to call a child, you need divine inspiration. And even though we think that I'm naming it after a grandfather, I'm naming it after somebody, right? But the fact that I chose to name it after that person, the fact that I chose not to name it after another one of the relatives, and it was dafka that person, is because God enlightened me to let me know that that's the spiritual makeup of this child. The truth is, we say that a person has four names. We have a name that God inspires and gives a person. We have a name that the parents name the person, name a person. We have the name that's given by friends, and we have the name that is given by yourself. The Shem Tov, the good name that you acquire for yourself. What does that mean? That means that there is a name, an identity of a person that comes from God, that comes from his genes, that comes from the neshama, the soul itself, that's inherited from, is part and parcel of that neshama. And then we have a part of a person and the personality and the tchunos that come from the parents. And there are things that a person picks up and it becomes part of their identity from their friends and from the people around. But all of that is just the potential of a person. All of that is what you potentially could accomplish and what you potentially could achieve. But then you take all that potential and you do something with that potential. You become someone, you become something, and that's the real you. That's your real name. That's the Shem Tov that you acquire for yourself, the good name that you acquire for yourself. Because everything else is just potential. Everything else is just gifts. It's just there. It's just stuff. But how you take that stuff and how you work that stuff, that is the definition of who you are. And that though you have four names, you really have one name. And the one name is what you do with the other three. It's how you take all the potential that you got from God, all the potential you got from your parents, all the potential that you get from the people around you, and how you actualize that potential and turn that into something. Why was Bezalel so amazing? Why was he able to do all this artistry and do all these incredible things? Because he took his potentials and he turned them into actuals. He had this incredible stuff lying around inside of him, and he took that and he used it to do something magnificent with it. You know, we say by potentials, that potential is like a bunch of zeros. And if you take a one and you put it at the end, it's nothing. But if you take a one and you put it at the beginning, so then all those zeros become something significant. You know, by Ne'ilah, we focus on a phrase that God, Leman Nechtam Yoshek Yadenu, that we ask God to protect us from the thievery in our hands. Now, we have a lot of averas to our name, to our rap sheet. Stealing might not even be one of them. And if it is, it's only one amongst many, many things. Why by Ne'ilah? We pare down the tefillas by Ne'ilah and we focus on this concept of Leman Nechtam Yoshikadenu. Save me from the thievery in my hands. What thievery? What are you talking about? That's the worst crime that a person could have, is thievery. And that's the exclusive crime that a person has. We don't say save me from the Lashon Hara, save me from the breaking Shabbos, save me from the other things, not keeping kosher, not making brachas, not having kavanah and davening. So a lot of stuff. Why is the center focus about Leman Nechtam Yoshikadenu? So I'll give you a mashal. They come to a school, and they're recruiting somebody for a position in a company. And they interview this girl, and they see that she's got tremendous talents, tremendous potentials. She's very creative. She has abilities to be able to think out of the box. She's an incredible mathematician. She is able to see things in sequence. She's got all the potential greatness. And they give her a deal. They tell her, we're going to hire you right out of high school, 5 years. We're going to pay for your schooling. We're going to pay for your training. We're going to send you around the world to be able to train from the best. And what we ask back from you is we ask back 5 years. She says, great. You're paying me a salary, and you're paying my school, and you're paying everything. Why not? She takes the job. And then she spends her time sitting on the phone, texting, watching movies, social media. She goes to school, but she's busy. She comes to work, but she's busy. So what is she? She's the thief. Why is she a thief? Oh, not just because she stole money from the company, but she wasted her potentials. She could have been something magnificent. She fizzled out and was fired after 5 years because she had such amazing potential. And she let that slide. And on Yom Kippur, we turn to Kadosh Baruch Hu and we say, Leman nechtam mi'oshek yadeinu. Save us from stealing our potential, from wasting our potential, which covers everything that we do. The full gamut. It's the foundation of everything. We have such incredible potential. We have to be so careful in our lifetimes not to waste that potential. God turns to Moshe and Aharon and he says, you can't go into Eretz Yisrael and lead the Jewish people. Yan lo emantim bi lahakdisheni, because you didn't trust in me to sanctify me, sanctify my name. So the commentaries grapple with what exactly was the sin of not sanctification, because at the end of the day, water came out of the rock. So it didn't come out from speaking to the rock, it came out from hitting the rock, but it was miracle nonetheless. So what does that mean? So the one of the Rashi says, because they hit, they didn't speak. The Rambam says because they got mad, Shimuna Hamayrim, because they spoke in a way that wasn't respectful to the Jewish people. Others say because they were focusing on themselves. Can we bring water? Right? Well, I mean, they was not talking about you, we're talking about God. So because they put the focus on themselves, so that's why they were punished. But I think maybe if you look carefully at the words, they weren't punished for not bringing water. They weren't punished because of a sin that they did. The reason they were punished because Yan lo emantim bi lahakdisheni, you didn't cause the kind of Kiddush Hashem that you could have. You were definitely Mekadosh Shem Shemaim. There definitely was a Kiddush Hashem. Again, there was a miracle that happened. But it could have been a massive miracle. You had potential to change the life of the Jewish people. You had potential to make it that when they walked into Israel, they would have been filled with faith. And this would have been the end. This would have been Olam Haba. And instead, you didn't live up to your potential. And you lost the opportunity. And that's why they weren't able to take the Jewish people into the land of Israel. Because of lost potential, lost opportunities. They say Gehenna, they say hell is where they show you two pictures. The picture of what you are now, and you look at that and you go, oh, I look good. I look good. I'm smiling. My eyes are open. It's geschmack. And then they take out the picture that God had in his files of what you could become. And they superimpose the one picture on the other. And when you see the difference of what you could have become and what you became, that pain, that's Gehenna. Because we have the ability to be able to be magnificent human beings if we only use the names that we've been given and create something awesome in ourselves. It says that if tragedies happen in a person's life, they have to look at their life and say, what sins did I do? And if you can't find a sin, if you're so clean, then assume it was bittul Torah, that it was nullification of the time, of wasting of time for the study of Torah, which always sounds too easy. Like, you're always wasting time for the study of Torah. So why, we look at it, and first of all, how are you going to find yourself clean that you didn't do any of errors? But even if you did, so then why we're blaming the fact that we didn't learn Torah on some great tragedy? No, because it's not that you didn't learn Torah, but that you had potential to become great, and you wasted that potential. Because we have such incredible potential. There's so much greatness that's sitting inside of us. There's so much awesomeness that we can accomplish. Re'eh, look at this little tiny pasuk. So look at it carefully. Because karasi b'shem, I called out to the one who had so much potential. Bezalel ben Uri ben Hur Lamati Yehuda. He came from great friends. He came from great family. I gave him a name. I gave him so much potential. And look what he did. He took that potential and he actualized it. And he made himself great. He made his world great. And he accomplished awesome things. Don't be afraid to pay attention to what your name is. Don't be afraid to pay attention to what your potential is. And that we should have the strength to be able to actualize that potential. Rei karasi b'shem, God has given us so much. We can make ourselves into something so magnificent if we just push ourselves, if we stretch ourselves a little bit, and we recognize the potential for greatness that we each contain.